If all you do is work hard, you're not going to be wealthy. But what does build wealth is taking risks. Risk builds wealth.
Fully declare what is it that you've always wanted. Opportunity to buy a home for $379,000 in cash. This is a renovation story 200 years in the making.
Jaw-dropping. It is shocking. What can you do to say this was a good day?
God, I love this question. As entrepreneurs, serve your clients with all of your heart, with all of your might, and it comes back to you.
Are you kidding me?
When you're dreaming a new dream, you need the right mentors.
Money is not actually stopping you. You are stopping you.
Like, because you've been rejected, that's not the end of your story. It's the beginning, friend.
Yeah.
You want to make more money? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel Rodgers.
Welcome back to the Hello 7 podcast. I am your host, Rachel Rodgers, and I am so excited about our guest today. Our guest is a fabulous, brand new breakout TV star. He has his own show called Breaking New Ground, which is right now on Max. You can watch all of the episodes. The last episode just dropped literally today as we're recording this. But more importantly than that, more importantly than being an incredible TV star who has filmed this incredible show about renovating a 200-year-old house that he kind of crazily paid cash for, and then went on this very dramatic, very stressful journey of renovating this house and uncovering the history of this house. Because 200 years ago, what was happening? Think about that for a second. So that is so exciting, and he's going to talk about all of that. But more importantly than that, he has a more important role than TV star. His other role is best friend to me, okay? Robert Hartwell is here today, and he is my actual best friend, is here in the studio today. Thank you for being here.
First, I'm just so happy the Hello 7 podcast is back.
Okay.
Like, can we just give a round of praise?
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
it is worthy, okay? We back.
We are back.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
So let's start with, where were you? Because I'm sure people want to know, how do you get a TV show? Like, what does that even look like? So take us back to right before this happened. Like, what were you doing? What was your life looking like? And then what was that moment that made this TV show happen?
So how you get a TV show is you have a best friend like Rachel Rodgers, okay? God's honest truth. So at the time, so we're going to go back just a little bit. So I graduated college, moved to New York City, had a 10-year career as a Broadway performer.
Yes.
While I was doing that, that is when I found your work.
Okay, hold on. Can we just pause for a minute and talk about, like, he was a Broadway star that was, you know, I don't know, doing Broadway shows with the likes of Bette Midler, you know what I mean? Touring the country. Just show after show. So, and I don't know if people know this, but a lot of times when you are on Broadway, a show ends, then you are searching for the next show. But Robert stayed employed, okay, for 10 years. Just show after show, you were just booking all the things. So you had this illustrious career on Broadway first, and then other things started to happen. Okay, so I just needed to ad-lib that because he was selling himself short.
Listen, but you know what that is? It's relationships. Because if I look back at the 5 Broadway shows and the 2 national tours that I did, it was many of the same director and choreographer, right?
Yeah.
So it is this idea of how we are as entrepreneurs. Serve your clients with all of your heart, with all of your might, and it comes back to you. So I was never confused that my plate was full because of like how I showed up to the relationship.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly. And that is such an important key for y'all to catch. Like, relationships, I think people underestimate how you treat people, the energy that you show up with, whether you're complaining all the time,
that part.
Your work ethic, are you showing up and doing the work, right? Are you reliable? Okay, because if you're reliable on my team, I'm just going to give you more projects, and I'm going to look for an opportunity to promote you because I know I can rely on you. That's what people are looking for in those relationships. So that's how you showed up. And you always show up. One of the things about you is that you make everybody feel important, right? And I think you really believe that everybody is important, and that's the energy that you show up with. So every time we go anywhere, like, first of all, besides flirting with every server,
Listen,
No
we're out here trying to find a husband, okay?
It's really, the gender doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
He is going to flirt with any waiter or waitress. Any server that we encounter, he will be flirting with them. But besides that, I think you just show up with such kindness. You care, you introduce yourself, you ask people's names, right? You make people feel like they matter. And that is so important. I don't think people understand, like, that little tweak can lead to success, right? Just the energy that you show up with and how you choose to treat people also makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Because when you make somebody else feel good, like, it just comes back to you and you feel good in the process, you know? So that the relationships is why, right? And those choreographers and those directors knew Robert Hartwell is going to get that leg all the way up.
Listen.
Okay.
Okay.
That 180 degree is happening. Okay. He's reliable. He's going to show up and he's going to give us those kicks.
But you know what I think, like, as I'm hearing you say all of those beautiful things, I kept asking myself, Robert, what was that? Right? And is it the people? Yes. But you said something about the energy, right? And the energy was that it was beyond the people and that it started with simply the gratitude of the day.
Yes.
Right? So, like, it's hard to go into a Broadway show and complain that you're there when you started your day with simply saying, I'm just so grateful for this breath in my body.
Yes.
Right? And everything else, that's just a gift on top of the greatest gift.
Yes.
You know?
It's so true. I think people think that tomorrow is not promised is just a saying. And it's like, no, friend, it's for real.
Yes.
So, like, make every day count.
Yes.
You know, how can you make this day great no matter what's going on?
Yep.
Right? Like, our mutual friend Alex says the day is not over yet, right? Like, it still can be a fabulous day, even if it's 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
What can you do to say this was a good day?
Yes.
When you lay down to go to bed? So all of that, like, these are just keys to, like, how to be happy. Like, forget success, right? Like, you're just going to be happier if you do this.
Yes.
And then when you're happier and you're exuding that beautiful, positive energy, you're just going to draw people to you. Like, that's how that works, right?
Yep.
So if you want more attention on your work, you want people to pay attention to what you're doing, show up with that energy. And now all of a sudden, more people are paying attention to what you're doing. So, okay, so take us back to this moment. Now that we don't get around the world, drop tips.
Okay, if y'all want to know what our friendship is, this is our friendship, okay? Like, we are always like, oh, I got to just tell you one quick thing, okay?
I know. And then it's around
an hour and
the
a half
world.
later, okay? And we're like, wait, what were we talking about again?
I just wanted to see what you thought of this outfit.
Yeah, correct. But we both got blessed, okay? We both got what we came for, okay? It's going to be around the way, but we going to get it, okay?
We going to get there.
So to go back, you know, just to scoot. So I was on Broadway and I had a director, Charles Randolph Wright, on the Motown National Tour.
Yes.
And he said, the only way I will be proud of you, my children, is if you come back from the tour and you have created something beyond this show.
I love it.
Right? And it was like, I've told you this before, but it was the first time that I had ever worked with a Black director.
Yes.
Right? To see a Black, gay Southern man directing a Broadway show filled with other Black and brown talent. Like, that was a gift to have that kind of permission from him to dream a new dream.
Yes.
Right? But when you're dreaming a new dream, you need the right mentors and you need the right programs.
Correct.
Right? And to be able to ask the right questions and get the answers that you need in that time.
Yes.
And that's who you were and are to my life. Right.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, well, when I build this business, I need to do it right. And so I signed up for all of your programs. You're our first attorney, you know, for my first company, the Broadway Collective. And I learned so much. And it was those beginning lessons that when it comes to something like 2020, an opportunity to buy a home for $379,000 in cash.
ROI, the Millionaire Summit, is back for the third time. It's happening in January 2025 for entrepreneurs that are looking to grow a 7-figure business and beyond. We'll have amazing speakers, incredible networking, lots of connection, community, and fun, and actionable steps that you can take to get a return on your investment in this amazing event. It's all happening January 15th through the 17th in Orange County, California, right outside of LA, so easy to fly to. And what's really special about this year is that we are including luxury accommodations with your ticket. That's right, you don't have to pay an extra fee for a hotel room. It's all included in your ticket. But these rooms will sell out and tickets are going fast. And the price goes up every week. So you will be rewarded for taking quick action. So make sure you go to hello7.co/ROI to get your ticket now.
It's those moments that I learned with you that helped me say all things are possible because of my skills, because of my gifts, because of the losses I've experienced, the wins I've experienced. Like, I am well equipped for this moment and whatever it brings. And so I have you to thank for that, because when I said it was a best friend like Rachel Rodgers that said, the day that I went viral, you called me and you said, what have you always wanted? And I think that's such a powerful question that, yes, we can ask ourselves, but to have someone that you love and trust give you that open window to fully declare what is it that you've always wanted. And for me, it was to always be a home design host, right? And so we stayed up that entire night. And we made a pitch, right? Like, and so the next day when the post continued to go viral, and I don't know if you remember this, but I actually put that post on Facebook. And it went viral on Facebook. And that night on the phone, when we are sitting writing a pitch deck for this TV show, just dreaming up what it would be, you said to me, put that picture on Instagram. And I said, no. I said, no. I can't possibly put this on Instagram right now. We should wait. And you're like, wait for what? Like, what are you waiting for? Put the picture on Instagram.
Is the moment.
Now is the moment. And I put it on Instagram, and then I woke up the next morning and there were 500,000 likes, right? So, but it was you who encouraged me in that moment, because I think there is sometimes this fear of our greatness, right? This fear of like, what is on the other side of celebrity, you know? And we have all of these negative stories, but I believe we always have an opportunity to write a new story.
Correct.
And I don't believe that hurt, harm, or danger is coming to us. I believe that it is goodness. I believe that it is prosperity. And anything that does come, like I said earlier, we are so equipped. So again, I have you to thank, because you got my mind all the way together, because then when the agents and the production companies came knocking, I had an idea.
You were ready.
I was ready.
That's the thing, y'all. If you go viral, you need to take advantage of that moment.
Say it again.
That moment is not necessarily going to last forever. But if you have the attention of the world right now, or you have an executive producer's attention, or whatever it is, right? What can you do in that moment to say, okay, how do I parlay this into what I want? What does that look like? You want to take advantage, because there's plenty of people that go viral and nothing comes of it. They don't get a TV show, right? So, but I also want to talk about how it actually, so y'all, just so what Robert is describing, I'm low-key his brand manager. You know what I mean?
Correct.
What people don't know.
Correct. These are the sessions.
I basically get paid in...
Baby, you get paid in this, okay? Look at all of this, okay? You get to bask in all of this. Baby, you are getting paid.
Listen. I don't know if all of that pays the bills, but you know what?
It pays the spirit.
It is
pays
valuable.
the spirit.
It is very valuable. What I was going to say is that I get paid in free trips to Hartwell House, you know? So me and my family just show up and we're like, hey, we're here for the week. We wanted to come to our mountain home.
Yes. Welcome. Oh, can I actually say something?
Yes, go ahead.
So you were just saying, you know, when you have that executive producer's attention, or you have that, you know, that exec's eye on you, I want to add, when you have the assistant's eye on you.
Yes.
Because we ended up partnering with Scott's Brothers Entertainment as our production company that, you know, we ended up co-producing the show with the Oprah Winfrey Network and with HGTV. But one of the people that saw that post first was not an executive. Right? Like, it was an assistant who then was like the guiding force of pulling this project into development. And what's wild is, at the last minute, I was going to go with a different production company, okay? And he called me on the phone. Like, he picked up the phone and he just said, like, I remember he's securing talent. And I was like, okay, it is a Friday night. I was on my way to a date. Okay. It was COVID, and so I had my mask. It was like my first time like meeting someone. I was like, listen, but I picked up the phone and his passion and his energy. And I just thought, if you have this much passion.
Yes.
Right? What is going to then happen when you relay that passion onto the execs?
Yes.
Onto the people who now have to go sell this show, to these networks. And I think about him often. And also a lot of the brand deals that I secured for the show were all through connecting with assistants on Instagram.
Amazing. Listen, never underestimate the power of an assistant.
Ooh,
okay?
Amen.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was clerking for a judge, this was right after law school. And, I'm making $40,000 a year.
She was clerking. She was clerking.
See, this is what I mean. Just constant breaking out into song.
Okay, keep going. This is good. This is good.
So I was clerking for a judge and all of the attorneys had to bring their cases, right? Their motions would be, I would read them first and then I would present them to the judge with what I thought his decision should be based on the law that I read and the different facts of the case, right? And so I had a lot of power right out of law school to influence the judge on what would actually happen with some of these cases. And so these attorneys gave me the utmost respect. How they talked to me, how they approached me, very respectful. I got invited to all of the holiday parties, right? Because they knew that, like, if they wanted to access the judge, they had to go through me, right? And that I had a lot of influence there. So when you decide that certain people are important and other people aren't, you are missing out, first of all, on getting to know people. And you're also missing out on, you might have missed it, right? Because the important people ain't got time for you. Right? It's their assistants. It's the other people who work for them who are going to bring you to their attention. And without them, they would never know your name. Right? Yeah. So make sure you treat everybody with respect and kindness and love, because if you don't, you are going to be left in the cold. Because let me tell you, there were also situations where people were disrespectful. And you know what I would do? I would take that case file and I would just put it in the bottom of my pile, okay? And then they'll be like, oh, when is my motion getting scheduled? I'm like, when I get to you.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'm going to go through these other ones first. So you don't want to play, all right? You could definitely be forgotten. And I know for me, if somebody disrespects my staff, you are instantly off the list. We don't get to work together, right? There were amazing national opportunities that I was like, no, thank you, because they were disrespectful to my team. So I will shut it down, okay? Yeah. So make sure that's the energy that you bring when you're meeting with people.
That part.
So that's just a quick sidebar.
Yeah. And also in media, those people that move with passion, they don't stay assistants for long.
Correct.
Right? Like that assistant who was an assistant 4 years ago is now a senior director. Right? And who knows what next production company he may move to. And when they move to other production companies, they bring their ideas about where you can go next with them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, if they are picking up the phone, they have a seat at the table.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly.
And beyond that, they're a human. And can we just be good people?
Hello?
Period.
Yes.
Just be good people.
Be good. Okay. Right? Like Ivy said.
That part.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to go back to the moment because did y'all catch the moment where he said he dropped a $379,000 bag? Let's go back to that. All right, let's go back to that moment. Because one of the things that I say all the time is that hard work is definitely an essential element to building wealth, right? Like, you are going to have to work hard at some point, probably. That's going to be part of the journey, but that's not it, right? So if all you do is work hard, you're not going to be wealthy. That's not enough. There's plenty of hardworking people all over the world, and they are not wealthy, right? So we know that hard work alone is not what's going to build wealth. But what does build wealth is taking risks. Risk builds wealth. So if you are not putting yourself out there, if you are taking no risks, if you're not risking your ego, if you're not risking your money, if you're not risking your time, if you're not risking your energy, you are not about to be wealthy, okay? Like, that's really the formula is, you can have hard work, you can have all these other things, but you also have to add willingness to take a risk as part of your formula, because otherwise you're not going to build wealth. And so that's what that's what you did, because you found a house in a magazine and you saw it and you were like, this is for me. It spoke to you.
Yeah.
And you followed your instincts. You followed that feeling like this is it. And then you went down the journey, and $379,000 in cash later. What was it like to write that check? Because you were taking a big risk, right? Let's give them some of the details from this scenario. You bought it from an ornery man who was like, I refuse to do anything, right? Because sometimes when you're negotiating, a house deal or a piece of real estate, you might have some things that you're like, okay, as the buyer, I want you to fix this. I want you to handle that before we close. This guy was like, I'm not doing anything. It's as is, take it or leave it or get out of my face, right? Which okay, sometimes you're in a position to do that, right? The house had been on the market for a long time. It was like waiting for you, and there were like other things going on, right? So like you just had to deal and say like, okay, I'm just gonna write this check and I'm just gonna go for it. And it needed so much work. When I first walked into this house, it's actually, I think it's captured in the show.
Yeah.
You could actually see my reaction, but my reaction was like, what did you do?
What did you do?
I don't think I said that, but that's what my face was.
I felt it in my dantian. I absolutely felt it. I knew it. And I was like,
what did you do? I don't see it. You see it. I don't see it. I'm like, all I see is bare beams and busted walls and a toilet in the corner and a random sink in the middle of the house. Why is the sink here? I'm so confused. What is happening? And he was like, yes, this is my dream home. And I'm like, we sure? Are we sure this is?
Yeah. Yeah. But you said something. You came into my community and gave a talk a couple of months ago, and you said, faith is taking a risk.
Yes.
Right? And I want everyone listening and watching right now to think of those moments that you have evidence that you have overcome, right? That you have evidence of, I will go back in and I will keep going back in until that yes presents itself.
Correct.
Right? Until a no comes, I'm going to keep knocking.
Yeah.
And when we look at that $379,000, which I went to the bank on Juneteenth, right? Like literally there's a Black Lives Matter parade going down beside the bank.
Wow.
As I'm walking into the bank with a mask on.
Right. Now, remember, this is 2020, so Juneteenth wasn't a federal holiday yet, so the bank was open.
Yeah. And what's amazing, Rachel, is just a few weeks prior, I had a launch for a program. So in Broadway Collective, we had 4 programs. We had our national tour that we would do, which was our top of funnel.
Yes.
We had Hello Broadway, which was our online training program.
Yes.
Gathered, our summer program, and then Pre-Screen Prep, which was our college prep program to get kids into school.
Right.
Now, that program, Pre-Screen Prep, every single year that I would do that launch, I would get anywhere between 10 to 20 kids.
Yes.
And I knew that we had the capacity, and we were getting our kids like between 93 to 98% acceptance rate into the top 10 colleges and universities for musical theater. We're getting these kids into schools that have a 1 to 3% acceptance rate.
Wow.
Into their programs. So
amazing.
We were doing it, right?
Yes.
But if I really look at that program, it was our lowest profit margin.
Yeah.
But I believed in that program so deeply because of the results.
I told you to cut it multiple times.
You were like, cut that program. And I was like, I can't.
I'm like, where are them profits
Where are the profits? They're not there. You won't find them here. Okay. You won't find them in these woods. Okay. Not Pre-Screen Prep, baby. But I knew in my gut, I was like, again, to another podcast recording you've done of have you really tried everything?
Yes.
Like, have you really tried everything? And I said to myself in 2020, when it was time to launch that program again, I was like, team, we are going to go hard on this. Like, we are going to show the receipts.
Yeah.
Okay. We are also going to show what happens when you don't do this program.
Hello.
Okay. We're going to show you the ease that comes from doing this program. And we're going to introduce you to families that have gone through this program. And I want you to see their face.
Yeah.
Do you want that face?
Or you want the sad face when you get the rejection letter?
Do you want to be sad, girl? Okay. I don't want you to be sad, girl. I want you to be joyous. I got a scholarship, girl.
Yes.
Okay. Amen. So we just went so hard on that launch. And that was the year that we went from 20 students in that program to we secured in a webinar 80 students into that program.
Wow.
And
so 4X'd
4X
the number of students.
Correct.
Wow.
And so then maybe the next month is when the home presented itself. So had I cut that program,
yes,
I would not have had that surplus sitting in the bank, you know? And so
you took a risk, right? By committing to a program that got incredible results for your clients.
Right.
But not necessarily for you.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
But you said, you know what? I'm going to stick with it.
Yes.
Can we talk about consistency for a moment?
Because nobody wants to do it.
Nobody wants to do it. Like, you have to keep showing up even when you're not winning yet.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, right? You have to keep putting the effort in, showing up consistently, deliver the program. Maybe you don't get any profits the first time. Then you do it again. Maybe you get a little bit of something. You do it again, maybe a little bit more. Like, are you the type of person who's willing to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years for that success to come?
That's real faith.
Or yes, that's real faith. Right? Is saying, like, I know this is it.
Yeah.
And I just need to keep doing it and keep showing people the results with who I have. So if I got 5 people, them 5 people are going to be treated to the most extravagant, spectacular experience that I have. And then I'm going to get those testimonials. And then I'm going to go get the next 5.
Correct.
You know? And it takes time. And are you the type of person who's willing to put in the time? And you did. And you wound up 4Xing the program and then having all of this extra capital. So it's like the money came and then you're thinking, okay, great. Now we got a surplus. I'm going to just leave it sitting.
Yeah.
And then the next month you find your dream home.
I find the dream home. And it's like, you know, when you're looking at your P&L and you're like, am I really about to release this bag? I then go to the evidence of like, Robert, what I know to be true about you, it may not come in the moment that you want it, but it always comes when you need it. And you've never, not once, been left without.
Right.
Right. So it may take a little longer to get there. Right. Like I just, a year and a half, 2 years ago, just launched a new company. You're constantly learning and leaning on that faith. But again, that evidence of we did it before. We will do it again.
We've had other
wins. That part.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So let's fast forward to now you own this property, this 200-year-old home that needs more work than I could ever imagine.
Correct.
And so how long did you think it was going to take to renovate the show? Because I remember a moment where we're at the premiere in LA.
Yeah.
We're watching the first episode. And me and your brother Isaiah literally scream out loud when we heard the timeline that this man said. He was like, oh, it's going to take X amount of time. And we were like, you know, both of us.
Yeah.
And he was like, shut up.
I literally hit y'all. I was like, shut up. Nobody asked you for that. Okay. But I believed in my heart of hearts that a full gut renovation of 4,400 square feet could be done in COVID in 9 months.
In 9 months. Okay.
9 months.
9 months. That sounds very, you know what? Very,
drunk.
It sounds faithful. You know what I mean? It sounds hopeful, you know?
Yeah.
It's giving dreams.
It's giving delusion. Okay. It's giving delusion.
She didn't know.
She didn't know.
So how long did it actually take?
Well, you know, if we actually open up our calendar, okay, and we really, really look at Barack Obama's calendar year, okay, it was a good 4 years, girl.
4 years.
It was 4 years. You know, so we were just a little over the timeline.
Only a smidgen.
Only a smidge and just a little over the budget.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Just, you know, I don't know. Times whatever.
Therapy.
Times 10.
Literally times 10. But it's interesting, right? Every single part of that delay I know was divine. Because when we signed the contract with the network.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let's just pause for a second. I just want to make sure everybody is clear on what's happened here, right? You're building your company.
Yeah.
You're taking bets. You're committing to these programs. You're delivering incredible results. You make money. Then you buy this house, right? you buy the house on Juneteenth, you post about it and how excited you are and what it means to you in this moment on Juneteenth during 2020, during this racial uprising that is happening. And the post goes viral. And then everybody starts reaching out. News networks, media companies, production companies, and you are ready with your request.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you'd like to know what I'd like a TV show.
Yeah.
I'd like a home renovation TV show. Let's do it.
Let's go.
And so it happens.
Yeah.
Through an introduction from your Black director that you had on Motown.
Literally.
Yes. Okay. So that's where we are now. So now we're doing this renovation and we're producing this show. Okay. I just wanted to recap it. So
executive producing.
Executive producing. Sorry.
Put
some respect on it. Okay. Address me properly.
My name is
Robert Hartwell, TV host / executive producer.
That's cute. That's real cute.
It's real cute. You did that.
Thanks, babe.
Okay. You said that every single delay was divine. Tell us why. I have a fun announcement. We recently surpassed 1.2 million views on our YouTube channel. So thank you for tuning in, for pressing play, for sharing episodes, for subscribing. We appreciate you. We wouldn't right now to this channel, and then please share it with your friends as well. When we get to that 15,000 subscriber milestone, we just might do a bonus episode just for you, okay? Maybe I'll do an Ask Me Anything where I will answer whatever questions you want to send my way. So all you have to do is go to youtube.com/hello7 and subscribe right now. And please share it with any of your friends who are trying to figure out how to build more wealth and need more positivity and to up-level their mindset and make more money, okay? So share it with your friends and subscribe right now, and we'll hit that milestone very soon. Thank you so much.
So, I want to say, follow your gut, you know, and follow that moment where you know you're supposed to be the bridge for someone, because Charles Randolph Wright was my director from Motown who literally walked me into the Oprah Winfrey Network and said, you have to meet this man because this story needs to be at OWN.
Wow.
Right? And so I constantly ask myself, where can I be a bridge for other people?
Yes.
Right? Because if it weren't for that moment, I don't believe I would never have got to that meeting. But the way that I got there, it was just this stamp of favor and approval that they were leaned back in their chairs when I got in. You know, it was like there was a relaxed anticipation.
Yes.
And so when I think of the delay being divine, when our press release came out for the show, and this was we were in Hawaii together.
Yes.
We were literally in Hawaii with Susan Hyatt. And I remember it came out and it said it was going to be on Discovery Plus.
Yes.
And so much has changed in media since then.
Yes.
Right? There's been all of these acquisitions and mergers. And if we would have stayed on schedule, our show, I believe, would have gone on Discovery Plus. Well, first, it wasn't a 6-episode series.
Right.
Right? Like, I believe at that time it was maybe supposed to be a 2 to 3 part special.
Wow.
Right? And the fact that we filmed for so many years, it gave us 6 episodes.
Yes.
Right? But at the time, we then lost our spot at Discovery Plus. So we're producing a show and we're filming a show
that doesn't have a home.
That does not have a home.
Wow.
But the production company and Oprah Winfrey Network and HGTV, they stayed true to their promise. They stayed by my side. They said, we're going to keep going. And again, that's faith.
Yes.
Continuing to move forward and put money into this project, and you don't have a home to host this thing.
Yes.
Then along came a friend named Max. Okay.
Yes.
MAX spells wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And Max said, we love this story. We love this idea of bringing in home renovation, but history.
Yes.
And family storytelling. And what would happen if we actually expanded it to a 6-episode series?
Yes.
And not only doing that, but dropping it in a very non-traditional way. You know, we live in such binge culture where everything is immediate and you can just watch all 6 episodes. But they said, let's drip it out once a week, one episode at a time for 6 weeks. And had we stayed on our 9-month timeline, we would have missed that blessing.
Yes.
Right? And we would have also missed the blessing of time gives creatives an opportunity to do what they do best, create.
Yes.
Right? So on the other side of that, HGTV said, oh my God, we love this even more. What if we actually also create a 90-minute special that then lives linear on HGTV?
Yes.
Right? So, and then the OWN network said, oh, well, what would be amazing is what would live then on our network as well. So in the future, this show will live in 3 different places.
Now he has 3 homes.
She has 3 homes.
She got the main home and she got 2 vacation homes.
Listen, that's a testimony. And she got knocked out of her first house.
Yeah.
But because you've been rejected, that's not the end of your story.
It's
the beginning, friend.
Yeah.
It's the beginning. And if you just stay faithful over what is in front of you, it truly does not yet appear how good and how great it's going to be. Just keep going.
That's right. Keep going.
I felt that thing.
Keep going.
Listen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how you did that. How did you keep going? Because, I'm sure everybody watching has had to do something hard, right? Where, you're building your business and you feel like it's taking forever.
Yeah.
Or you're, trying to build up your following and it's taking so long. Or there's something else, some other dream that you're going after that is just feels like it's never going to happen. And you're just getting impatient. Because that's what was going on for you. Because when I tell you...
tell them.
This show, like one of the things that I love about the show too is that you're very honest about what you're experiencing as you're renovating this show. So it seems very glamorous to do this beautiful, like absolutely stunning. I mean, jaw-dropping.
It's gorgeous.
It is shocking. Okay? I actually have a fabulous photo of me and the hallway because I'm like, I match this wall and I look so cute in front of this wall. I had to do, so I'm going to have to drop that photo.
Bless the people.
I'm going to bless the people with that photo. But yes, it's just so bold and so beautiful, like such a gorgeous design. And it seems very, it's like, how you watch HGTV and they're like, so what do you do for a living? And you're like, oh, I draw cats. I draw people's cats.
I'm a cat drawer.
Yeah, I'm a cat illustrator, And it's like, okay, great. And then like, what's your budget? Oh, $9 million. And it's like, girl, why your budget $9 million when you're a cat drawer?
Teach me those secrets. Okay, let me pick up a pen.
Notice that on HGTV. But I love that you actually get into the numbers and the money in this show. So like people can really understand how you did it, what you were spending, like how you were coming up with the money. Like you share all the details. But the one thing that I will tell you, got to watch the show. You're going to have to watch the show to see it. Okay. But I will tell them that this show absolutely broke your pockets. Okay. Oh, yeah. Because not the show, but the renovation.
Yeah.
Because, it's like change order after change order. Like change order was like your trigger phrase for literally 4 years.
Yeah.
Because a change order is when, okay, this is the budget and this is the timeline and this is what we're doing. And then they open up a wall or open up the floor or whatever and discover some nonsense that's like, okay, now it's just another $118,000. Can you come up with that? Like, also, we need it tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally constantly. And I mean, so stressful. I mean, there were times where like, you had to get a new therapist to get through this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you remain resilient and keep your eye on the prize so that you can make it to this moment, right? Where now you're doing your victory lap. Everybody's watching the show and loving it. You're on, Gayle King, right? Like you're hanging out with Robin Roberts, right? Like all the people want to talk to Robert and everybody is loving the show. How did you stay resilient and stay focused on that? Because I think so many people give up before they get to that moment. So what was your secret to not giving up?
Wow. Just thank you for that. I want to speak to the numbers first.
Yes.
always share what you believe and what you value. And telling the truth was of utmost importance to me.
Yes.
Because originally, you know, as we're creating the show, they're like, no. You don't share you can't share the real numbers, you know? And I'm like
people will be horrified.
Yeah. You can't do that. And I said, no.
Yes.
I need us and I demand that we do that because I want to show people that it's possible.
Yes.
Right? And I want people to know what is one, possible through the power of small business in America.
Yes.
But two, when you have faith, when you have family, and when you give yourself permission to fly.
Yes.
Right? And so, yes, there are things that I am still deeply paying for, right? Like deeply paying for, you know? And there are, when you take a risk, there are always going to be repercussions, right? Like every action, there's going to be a reaction.
I'm glad you said that, because taking a risk and betting on yourself doesn't automatically mean success is just all rosy.
No.
Right? Like there may be some challenges with it. There may be some bills that you're looking at on the back end of that. Like risk does not mean that it's all going to be easy from here.
Yeah.
It just means that you're betting on yourself, and you're probably going to have to keep betting on yourself repeatedly, right? Like that's just the first risk you are willing to take. And then you keep going, and there's a bigger risk that you have to say yes to, right? And a bigger bet that you have to make on yourself. Like this is what the journey actually looks like. Okay, we're here to share the truth and not the rosy fancy version. So like when you see us on a yacht in Greece living our best life, understand that we earned that. Okay. There was a lot of risk taking. There's a lot of bet making. There's a lot of continuing to believe in ourselves. There's a lot of, oh, that's how much that costs?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know how I'm going to come up with that. But you know what? Let me roll up my sleeves. There's no choice. Like, let's just get to work, because you know what we're not doing? We're not giving up.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the thing. I want people to understand. This is why I wrote my books. This is why I do all the things I do, so that you understand that money is not stopping you from doing anything. Money is very gettable. Okay. So if you have a project that you want to do and you're like, oh, it's going to be $10,000 to make that happen, you can go find $10,000. You can use your creativity, your natural talent, your skills to create $10,000 if you want to. If you need $100,000, you can go make that happen too, right? It may take a little bit longer, like the timeline might change, but money is not actually stopping you. You are stopping you because you believe that money, if you don't have it already, or if you don't have a clear path to get it today, that it's not going to happen. No, you can make it happen. You can figure it out. Okay. And there's a little book called We Should All Be Millionaires that'll help you figure out how to do it. Okay. But money is not stopping you. So, and that's what you said. You were like, listen, this money, I don't know how I'm coming up with it, but I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to figure it out.
That part. Because I'm getting emotional right now.
Yes.
I have bills.
Yes.
And I have faith.
Yes.
Right? And I have to say.
Okay, hold on. There's one other thing that you have.
What?
You have an asset. You have an asset. Because the money that you invested in this house, the renovation that you did, now this house is famous. There are so many ways that you can monetize that.
Oh, yeah.
From hosting events, you could Airbnb it if you wanted to, but also you could just live in it and enjoy it, and then enjoy the increase in value that has already happened. Like this house, you bought it for $379,000. It's worth just a little bit more than that now.
Yeah, she's cute now.
Yeah, she's real cute.
Very cute.
She's really cute.
You know, but I think we get crippled by this idea that it has to be perfect.
Yes.
And I can't leave the house and I can't celebrate if it's not perfect. Right?
Yes.
If every bill isn't paid, if every this and that, stop that.
Yeah.
Because that is keeping you from your greatest, right? Like, case in point, when it was time to start publicizing, hey, the show is coming out, and you kept asking me for months, hey, what's the strategy? What's the plan? And typically on streamers, when you are a first-time property, which Breaking New Ground is, there's not a lot that goes in, like they put their attention into their bigger, well-known properties.
Yes. And by property, he means TV show.
Yes.
He's an executive producer, so he uses fancy TV language now.
Property. But because of that, I was like, all right, one, we can sit here and we can be sad that, we don't have billboards all over New York City and this huge press campaign, or we can remember that we are an entrepreneur. We are never out of options, and we can create our own reality because of our skills, our talents, and our connections.
Yes.
And so I got together with my team and we said, how can we, operative word being we, make this great?
Yeah.
Right? And so we hired 2 publicists, right? And I was like, the last thing that I wanted to do after a renovation was put more money into anything, right?
And that's the thing. You cannot give up, right? You were like, okay, I finished the show. You were tired.
Very tired.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
And luckily, even the timeline for when the show came out got pushed back a little bit. So that gave you time to rest, which was so needed.
I needed it.
You needed
Dear
it.
God, I needed it.
But it was like, okay, now I have to bet on myself yet again. And I gotta spend even more money to make this happen, to get the publicists, because the networks are not paying for this.
No.
When you publish a book, the publishers are not giving you any money for marketing. Like, you're on your own if you want that book or that TV show, that property to be successful, right? You got to invest. So did you get the budget publicist? Like, did you get like the cheapest publicist you could find? Like, did you get like the starter publicist? You know what I mean? Tell me about the kind of publicist you got.
Yes, I did not, So Miss Yvette Noel Shore famously represents people. There's a new artist. Her name is Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter.
Oh, I think I've heard of her.
Yeah. And then there's another one. Her name is Sarah Hall. She represents best-selling author Rachel Rodgers. But here's the thing though. My tarot reader, my astrologer at the beginning of the year, you know what she told me?
What?
She said, just know that when it is time for you to release your shine, it is going to be the women in your life that are pushing this whole movement forward.
Wow.
My publicist, women. Almost every producer on the TV show circuit that we've been doing, all women.
Yes.
Right? I guess there have been male identifying people that have been there, but it really has been these women. But here's what's interesting. When we think again back to risk and releasing this idea of perfection.
Yes.
We're going out on this tour, right? And we are paying for these venues, these movie theaters to show this screening.
Yes.
We are selling tickets, through our website, through my company. Like, we're doing all of this work. But it was those moments on the tour that then got on Instagram that started to show the larger networks like CBS Morning and NBC show them like, oh, this is a thing, right?
Yes.
So that sacrifice and that risk end up giving you this big moment of like getting to sit down with the journalist of all journalists, Miss Gayle King.
I mean,
and
now y'all are, she's vying for my best friend spot. And I'm like, girl, keep Oprah, okay? Because I am the best friend.
Listen.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Gayle.
We love you, Gayle. And we're having tea.
Yes.
Okay? We're having tea.
We have to have tea in Paulette's Parlor.
You must.
And if you don't know about Paulette's Parlor, it's because you didn't watch that show yet. Okay?
You gotta watch. You gotta watch. Hey, you gotta watch.
So, breaking new ground on Max. Okay. Okay. So you bet on yourself. You did the tour. One of the things that I love that you did was, we did this on my book tour because of you. But what you did was, on the tour, you created all of these brand ambassadors, right? Because you said, everybody who's here, you're a champion of the show because you came out your house and you bought a ticket.
That part.
So I need you to share right now with your audience, tell all your friends, post about it. And everybody did it at every single tour stop. So you have 300 people sharing about it at the exact same time at every tour stop. And so now that's creating this momentum and making sure more people know about it and then creating opportunities for you to be on bigger platforms.
Right.
So it's a building process,
That
right?
part.
It's not all handed to you.
Yes.
You just got to take step 1, leap of faith. Step 2, more leaps of faith. Step 3, oh, we're still leaping. You know, step 4, bigger jump, you know? And you just keep doing it until that's how you create that momentum. It is not in one fell swoop. It's not handed to you in a package. Nobody else is paying for it. So just understand that this is how we make things happen. And, you know, if you're not going to bet on you, why would anybody else? Right? So you got to be betting on you first.
Yeah.
And trust that you can make it happen and you can figure out a scrappy way.
Yeah.
My book tour happened in churches. We had money church in churches. You know how much those churches cost to rent? About $1,000. One of them cost $500, right? Whereas the fancier venues are tens of thousands of dollars. So we're like, we're going to get creative. We're going to support these churches and their communities.
Yes.
And we're going to pay $1,000 and we're going to gather. So you can find a way, all right? You can get creative with it. You don't have to spend tons of money to make things happen.
And stop waiting on somebody, right? Like stop waiting. Like, I really do believe the universe, like, I believe she is like a fabulous drag queen. Okay.
That sounds accurate.
You know what I mean? And she is just like sitting upon her throne.
Yes.
And she's like, until you throw me some dollar bills, I'm not getting up and doing this number for you.
Correct.
Right? Like you want the showstopper, but you won't throw your dollar bills.
Hello?
Right? And I think our dollar bills are our footwork, right? Like, get up. Say thank you for this day and take one action step towards that thing, right? Like, Good Morning America just doesn't happen because of the like and love of you and your project.
Yes.
No, it's because you threw your dollar bills
That's right.
at the universe and you were like, listen,
Yes.
I'm the one.
Okay.
Okay.
You gave
and
him a little 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. The universe is a drag queen. I love it.
I love
Shablam.
That part.
Okay. Happy Pride.
That is hilarious.
You know what I mean?
On that note, what is next for you? So now that the last episode is about to drop, I mean, you're still doing your press tour, but what is going to happen next? What are you thinking? Like, what's next for you? This project is now complete, but it's almost like, what are those things that you jump on?
Little trampolines?
Yes.
Yes.
It's like going to catapult you to the next thing. And so what is the next thing? What are you thinking?
God, I love this question. So, funny story.
Yes.
I'm on NBC last week. And, you know, right before you go on these live interviews, they show you your questions. And the last question was, what's next? And I look at my team member, Andrew, and I'm like, Andrew, what is next? And he was like, speak it into the universe. Yeah. Be bold. Hello. Let them know, right? Which, again, another key thing to success is like you have to have people around you that see the bigger dream, even when you are in that moment fearful of like what could be.
Yes.
So what is next? A season 2.
Yeah.
Right. And it is really figuring out, like, I believe when you are blessed, it is to bless others.
Yes.
When you receive knowledge, it is to share that knowledge with our people. Right.
Yes.
And so I want to take everything that I learned over those last 4 years, from buying the home to renovating the home to sharing the home in such a public way with other families, because I believe we all should give ourselves the gift of coming home.
Yeah.
Right? And what would happen when other Black and brown families started to know the land on which their family labored?
Yes.
And what freedom that gives you, right? And what pride that gives you of reminding oneself, I'm a survivor.
Yes.
Right?
I come from survivors.
Like, I get to do this.
Yes.
Right? And so, yes, I would love to help people build beautiful homes, but I want people to come home to their history and to tell a new story so that they are inspiring the next generation.
Yes.
The next would be a podcast.
Yes.
And
finally,
you've been brand manager over here, okay, for the last like 4 years. Okay, girl, when you started this podcast, when you sitting down with the saints, okay, when you giving that, it's coming, okay, America, it's coming. And then another thing that I've been delaying, and I'm so glad that I have delayed it, is the book, the first book, because I thought that the first book was about the house. You said it best. You're going to have to go through some shit.
Yep.
Right? So that you really know what is that message.
Yes.
Because it's not about getting the home. It's how did you get over?
This show is not about the house.
It's not.
I mean, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. It's giving us the visuals, you know, but it is about resiliency.
That part.
And it's about making something happen. And it's about having a big dream and seeing it all the way through. And people are being so inspired by it. So yes, I think that's what the book is about. Because it's like, we need the tea on, break down the gratitude practice, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about resiliency.
That part.
How do you talk to yourself, right? What do you spend your time doing? How do you restore yourself when you get burnt out? Like, what does that look like? How do you approach relationships? Like, we want to know the Robert Hartwell formula for success.
We're going to give it to you.
Okay.
We're going to give
us this tea.
Okay, it's coming, honey.
I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Yay.
And thank you for inspiring me. And thank you for what you do for us. Because from We Should All Be Millionaires to the $1 Million Action Workbook, this is what I wish we all knew.
Yes.
A decade, 2 decades, 3 decades ago. But now we have the tool.
Yes.
And so to anyone that's listening right now, do the work.
Yep.
And thank you for giving us the blueprint. And thank you for showing up for us in the way that you do, because this wouldn't be happening right now had I not found you.
Wow. Thank you, Robert.
I love you.
I love you too. And I feel like, honestly, that's my role in life is to support greatness.
Yeah.
Right? To help more greatness happen.
Yeah.
You know, and to give the tools and the roadmap to making it happen. You know? Thank you for being here, Robert.
Thank you. And just keep throwing them dollar bills.
Okay. It's all about the dollar
It's all about the dollar bills.
So where can people find you, and remind people where they can watch the show?
So you can watch Breaking New Ground streaming on Max, all 6 episodes. And y'all, when I tell you, you better finish all 6 episodes.
Listen, you got to finish all 6 episodes. That's how we get the next season. Okay? So you can't just watch the first 2 or 3. And also, you're not going to want to.
No.
It's so good. You're going to be like, where is this going? How does this end?
Also, when you watch it, text 3 friends.
Yes.
Like, we got to get in a practice of supporting publicly each other's work more.
Yes.
Right? It's
I
like,
agree.
when we think of, like, people come to ROI, the Millionaire Summit.
Yes.
And they're like, I had the time of my life. It doesn't matter if you don't put it online and tell your friends, tell your church group, tell your sisters, tell your brothers.
Yes.
Yo, in January, you got to get to LA.
Yes.
Because lives are being changed, right? Like, it's not just about the changing of your life, but it's like, what will you do for others?
Right.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let me stop. And you can find me on Instagram at Sir Robert Takes Pics.
Awesome. Robert, thank you so much for being here.
I love
this. Was so fun.
This was
Too.
amazing.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hey, do you enjoy money? I do. If you want to make more money, then you need to join We Should All Be Millionaires, the club. Go to hello7.co/club to see everything you get once you become a member. hello7.co/club. In the club, we teach you how to maximize your earning potential, how to make better financial and business decisions, how to set up systems so that you're building wealth over time. We keep you focused on your financial and business goals, and we do fun activities throughout the year to keep you motivated. During our last money-making challenge, our club members earned a grand total of $3,519,262.66. Okay? $3.5 million as a community. That's a lot of money, y'all. If you want to get in on this, go to hello7.co/club and become a member.